There is one day that everyone who loves you remembers perfectly, and you have no memory of it at all. Your mother could tell you what time it happened, what the room smelled like, the exact sound you made when you took your first breath. For her, it's one of the most vivid memories of her life. For you, it's a blank. Nothing. A day you were absolutely, completely present for and cannot reach. It was the most important day of your life. It was the day you were born, and where that memory went, the memory of your own beginning, is a far stranger story than you just forgot. Brand new research is quietly rewriting it right now. Start with where you came from. For 9 months, your entire universe was one place. Dark, warm, weightless. Every sound arrived muffled, filtered through fluid and flesh, your mother's heartbeat, a slow, steady drum, the closest thing you had to a sky. And then, in the space of a few minutes, all of it ended at once. Light hit your eyes for the very first time. Eyes that had never seen anything, because there had been nothing to see. Cold air rushed over skin that had only ever known warm water. Sound arrived raw and sharp and unmuffled. Gravity, which you had never felt, suddenly had you. And your lungs, which had never held air, pulled in their first breath and screamed. Every sense you owned switched on in the same instant, with nothing to compare any of it to. No words for what was happening. No memories of anything ever happening before. Just an unfiltered flood of raw sensation, hitting a mind that had never processed a single thing. If there is a definition of overwhelming, that is it. And you were the star of it, and you would not keep a single second. That's the strange thing we keep circling back to. The most intense, most important experience of your life, and it left you nothing to remember it by. Hold that thought, because to understand where it went, you first have to understand the mind it happened to. But here's the part people get wrong. Back in 1890, the psychologist William James, writing in his foundational book, The Principles of Psychology, described the newborn's world with a famous phrase. He said the baby, assailed by eyes, ears, nose, skin, all at once, feels it all as one great blooming, buzzing confusion. For a long time, that was the picture. The newborn as a helpless, disorganized blur, unable to make sense of anything. Modern research has quietly overturned that. Newborns turn out to be far more organized than James imagined. Your senses didn't come online randomly. They came online in a specific, useful order. Vision was the least developed, and for good reason. The womb was dark, so there was nothing to practice on. At birth, you couldn't focus much beyond 8 to 16 inches, which, not by accident, is almost exactly the distance from a feeding baby's eyes to its mother's face. But your other senses arrived early and sharp. You already knew your mother's voice. You'd been hearing it, muffled, for months, and within days you could pick out your own mother's scent from anyone else's. Blurry as the world was, you were already reaching for the people who mattered. Your brain in those first years was also wired differently than it is now. It was dense with connections, wide open, taking in the world with far fewer of the filters you've since built to screen most of it out. You met that first day about as openly as a human mind can meet anything, and you kept none of it. Which brings us back to the question the hook left hanging, the one that should bother you more the longer you sit with it. If you were there, wide awake and drinking in everything, why is there nothing left? Try it right now. Reach back as far as you can. Most people hit a wall somewhere around 3 or 4 years old. Before that, nothing. Not your first steps, not your first words, not the first time you saw your own mother's face, and certainly not the day you were born. This isn't a personal failing, it's universal. It happens to everyone, in every culture, and it has a name. Infantile amnesia, the near-total absence of memory for the first few years of life. For a long time, the explanation seemed obvious. The hippocampus, the seahorse-shaped structure that files away our memories, is still immature in a newborn. On top of that, a baby has no language yet, no words to pin experiences into a story it could ever retrieve. The conclusion followed naturally. Babies don't remember being born because babies simply can't form memories yet. Clean, logical, and It now looks wrong. In 2025, a team at Yale published a study in the journal Science that cracked the old story open. Led by researcher Tristan Yates in the lab of psychologist Nick Turk-Brown, the team did something that had been nearly impossible before. They scanned the brains of awake infants while showing them new images. And they watched the hippocampus, the memory structure everyone assumed was too immature to work, light up as it encoded specific memories. When a baby's hippocampus responded strongly to an image the first time, that baby was more likely to recognize it later. In other words, the babies were forming memories. The machinery was running. This built on earlier Yale work showing that infants as young as 3 months already use the hippocampus to find patterns in the world, which forces a strange and beautiful new possibility. If the memories are being made, then infantile amnesia may not be a problem of storage at all. It may be a problem of retrieval. The memory of your first day might not be erased. It might still be in there, encoded, filed, sitting somewhere in the dark of your own brain. Behind a door, your adult mind no longer has the key to open. Now, science is honest about what it doesn't know, and so should we be. This is new, and not everything is settled. There's another leading idea that points the other way. Researchers Paul Franklin and Sheena Jocelyn have shown that a baby's brain builds new neurons at a furious rate, and that this very growth can overwrite older memories, wiping them to make room for new learning. On that view, some of those first memories really are gone, sacrificed so you could keep becoming who you are. So, we don't yet know for certain whether your first day is locked away or truly lost. Both might even be a little true. What has changed, what's genuinely new, is that the baby's brain was too undeveloped to remember is no longer the safe, simple answer it was for 100 years. The newborn you were was remembering. We're only now learning what happened to it all. So think about that one day again. The day your whole sensory world switched on at once. The day you took your first breath and screamed into the light. The day the people who love you locked away forever. The time. The smell of the room. The exact sound of your first cry. It is the single most important day of your life, and the one day you will never be able to remember. But you were there. Fully, completely there, a wide-open mind taking in everything, missing nothing, forming memories in the dark. Someone in that room remembers your first cry. You never will. And yet, if the newest science is right, it wasn't lost the way we always thought. Somewhere behind a door you cannot open, in a brain that was quietly recording all along, that moment might still be waiting.